Hey guys, it's Sire Goku. I am back, and I am doing an LP of Megaman X3. Enjoy this opening cutscene. Yeah, that was a long opening, and that's just the PlayStation version's opening. This is Mega Man X3. I am playing this on the X collection that I have for PS2, and that version uses the PlayStation version of Mega Man X3, the PlayStation/Dreamcast version, and now I'm showing off the original Super Nintendo intro, which is ridiculously longer than the PS1 intro. Long story short, after the events of the second game, there is a new scientist researcher named Dr. Doppler who created a new utopia known as Doppler Town with his new Reploids. But of course, a few months later, after the utopia is designed, the mavericks that were supposed to have been neutralized were once again causing a riot. Because there wouldn't be a video game if there was peace, so... Apparently Dr. Doppler was the one behind the attack the whole time. Who would have seen that coming? So X and Zero, now that he's been rebuilt from Mega Man X2, are sent to investigate and stop Dr. Doppler's robots. For some reason, though, Mega Man X3 decides that that's not the spot where the intro has to stop. They have to keep going. I don't hate Mega Man X3. I know a lot of people that dislike Mega Man X3. I actually kind of like it. And I am playing the PlayStation version, which has an upgraded soundtrack, which a lot of people prefer. I know a lot of people don't really care for the overuse of the electric guitar in the Super Nintendo version. But thankfully, for those of you that don't like the Super Nintendo version, that's not the version I'm playing. I'm playing the PS1 version, the PlayStation/Saturn version that comes with the Mega Man X collection, which also has cutscenes like this one here. And right there is where the Super Nintendo version would have started anyway. So now it loads up the actual game. X, I'll clear out the enemies out here. You go on ahead and deal with the ones inside, because that's what you always do. Sure, why not, Zero? Why not? Welcome to Mega Man X3, and just like with Mega Man X1 and 2, X has stripped his armor of the last game, because canonly I guess he never does keep any of the armors that Light gives him. But we do still have the dash. Here's the pause screen. If you press R, you'll be able to open this other menu. I will explain what that, this stage will actually explain what that's going to do later, because I'm hardly ever going to use it. Now, as I mentioned before, this is the Mega Man X collection copy that I'm using, because I do not have an original copy of Mega Man X3, because what do you think, I'm made of money? If you want the original Mega Man X3 for Super Nintendo, that's going to cost you an arm and a leg at this point. Unless you buy it on the eShop on the Wii U, which I think is still up. I know they specifically said that it might be ending soon though, but if the eShop is... Well, I know the eShop on the Wii has ended, but I think the Wii U eShop is still up, and that version does still have Mega Man X3. If I'm wrong, then I apologize, but there was the Super Nintendo version available on the Wii eShop. And sorry for talking over that. That was Mac, who's apparently betrayed the Maverick Hunters and has joined Doppler's army and has captured X. And since we're not playing as X, we now are playing as Zero, and Zero is freaking amazing. He has the double charge and the slash shot like he did at the end of X2. And this is going to be one of the 2 times you ever see me actually use him. Because if you want to get the decent ending, if you want to get a specific item in this game, you need to keep Zero alive for the entirety of the game up until one of the final stages. Because Zero can actually die in this game, and if he does, well, he doesn't die, he just gets damaged, and the excuse is he's too damaged to help you for the rest of the game, so he's gone for the rest of the game, which locks you out of getting this game's super weapon. Yes, there is another super weapon in this there is another super attack in this game, but it is not a Street Fighter attack, and you're not getting the Tatsumaki Senpyaku, or whatever, the Hurricane Kick in this game, because that would just be ridiculous to have. You get an even better weapon later on, but I'll explain what that is when we actually get there. First off, here we have Mac, and Mac is super easy. You use the double charge shot from Zero, and then... And I screwed up there big time. I wanted to hit him with the beam saber, but no. He had to be a jerk. Boom, he's done. That took longer than it should have, and I apologize. But 2 fully charged shots and a beam saber, and Mac goes down easily. I also apologize for talking over Zero's theme there, but I technically prefer Zero's theme from X2 over X3. That's just me. Not that I dislike X3, not that I dislike his theme from X3, I just think his theme from X2 fits him better. But anyway, as the game implies, you can actually have Zero jump in for you in any stage you want. He just can't fight any bosses. So really, there's no point in using him. Well, here's the first boss, this giant mechanoloid that's just going to punch the ground with his giant mace fist. You can actually jump in between the arms, even though they look like they're electrocuted. And just like every single intro boss in the X series, despite how big it is, even if you get hit like I have a few times, you only take 1 pixel of damage from each attack, and he goes down like a chump. Even your normal buster shots do more damage than he can do to you, so you actually have to try to lose to this guy. And Zero's back. Text box limitations, gotta love them. And as Zero says there, yes, you can actually call him. Although I would like the game to have actually explained that. In order to call Zero, you have to go into the item menu and press R, which will then slide open. Well, you saw me do it earlier. When you saw me in the pause menu and it slid over and the screen slid over and there was this blank space there, that's where Zero would be if you wanted to call him. As I mentioned before, if you want to get this game's super weapon, you have to not use him, because if he dies, he only has one. Because if Zero dies, he only gets one life. And he never comes back. Let's start with, and well, as again, I'm going in weakness order. This is Blizzard Buffalo, although the game will not call him Blizzard Buffalo. Apparently it's Blizzard Buffalo. I don't know how they screwed that up, but okay. Anyway, Blizzard Buffalo is the stage you should start off with, because this is where you're going to be finding the first light capsule in this game. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy to find. Down here we will be able to get a special item. Unfortunately, I don't have the whereabouts of getting said item. You need to have a special weapon or a specific armor, which you can actually get. If you saw what I ran past on the left, there's this little platform on the left that you can use to get ride armors like you could in X2 and in X1 and 2. But in order to use said ride armor platform, you need to find the original ride armor that the first two games had, which is in a whole nother stage that I'm not going to quite yet. So unfortunately, this is one of those X games where there's going to be lots and lots of backtracking, and there's really not much you can do about that. This is another thing that a lot of people dislike about X3, is the heavy amount of backtracking that you get in this game. That and the fact that X seems to have lost a ton of defense from X2, because even without the armor upgrades, you could still take a good 4 or 5 hits before you have to heal. In this game, though, you seem to be at half health in about 2 or 3 hits. So you get about 4, maybe 6 hits if you're lucky before you die, as opposed to maybe 8 or 9 in X1 and 2. So I don't blame people for thinking that this is a much harder game than the first two. They're not necessarily wrong. It's a big step up in difficulty compared to X2, but I don't think it's that much harder than X2. Once you beat your first Maverick, you'll be pretty set for the rest of the game. I think what I was showing... Oh, no, I think I was looking at weird notes here to make sure I was going the correct way. As you can see, there's another thing about this game. It tries to emulate a lot of the things from Mega Man X1, where depending on the stages that you've beaten, it actually changes the other stages' layouts. But it's not as intuitive as it was in X1. I'll explain that more when we actually get to stages that actually changed based on the stages I've beaten. For now, though, I'm going to attempt to get the first light capsule upgrade, which is in this level, which is probably the hardest one to get in the game. Only because you're in an ice level, and as you can see, I'm slipping and sliding all over the place, and it's ridiculous. You're going to want to destroy this thing. Even though that is a shortcut back up, you kind of need that ice machine to be destroyed, otherwise you won't be able to make the jump up to where the light capsule is. Actually, I could be completely wrong, but I do like destroying that. Yeah, the light capsule is actually up here. So in order to get up to the top of that wall, you do have to. And what I'm trying to do here is heal myself up, and I'm doing a horrible, horrible job of doing so. Come on, Sire, you can get up there. There you go. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is make this jump. If you dash jump off the wall just fast enough to grab onto the edge of that ledge there, you can actually get up there. Unfortunately, I got trapped, and ow. Don't worry, I'm going to cut ahead to when I actually do a successful jump. There we go. That's how you're supposed to do it. It's actually a lot harder than it looks. But if you make that jump, you find the first Dr. Light capsule. And we get the leg upgrades, which is the best leg upgrade in the entire franchise, in my opinion. As you'll be able to dash left, right, or as the light mentions, straight up into the air, which is fantastic. So I will let the game show that off. See, you have the air dash just like X2, but now you can also dash directly up, which is going to make grabbing items on ledges so much easier than before. I personally think that's the hardest of the light capsules to get, and that is, of course, the very first one that they are expecting you to find. But moving on, we are going to be fighting Blizzard Buffalo himself, which is actually super ridiculously easy because you can glitch him into well, I'll show you in a sec. Right here, he's using his weapon. He'll throw some ice spikes on the floor and on the wall, and then he'll dash at you. But you can, for some reason, you can glitch out his AI by, if you use an air dash, he for some reason decides to turn around, and there you go. I'm gonna try to not cheese. I wanted to make sure I didn't cheese him too much. That's one of his moves, and then I can get him to keep doing that, and it's just like, I don't know how this works. I don't know what makes this work. Oh, and that's his other move. I guess his overdrive move is he shoots this giant ice beam which freezes you in place multiple times if you try to break out. But now I'm getting kind of risky here. So I'm just like, screw it. I'm just gonna cheese this boss now. I don't get how this works, but for some reason if you air dash, it screws up Blizzard Buffalo's AI and he turns around the other way, and you can just keep doing this over and over again until he dies. You don't even have to charge up the blast. You don't even have to charge up the buster. This is why people come to Blizzard Buffalo first. Granted, you do need the leg upgrade in order to do this trick, but yeah. And people say Chill Penguin is the easiest Maverick in the franchise. That was pathetic. Anyway, for defeating Blizzard Buffalo, we get the Frost Shot. I think is what it's called. It's an ice needle. Frost Shield, okay. I don't remember the Maverick weapons in this game very well, unfortunately. See you guys for part 2.